Welcome, everyone, to the second edition of Welcome to Treetown. I am your host, Ryan McCooch, and joining me today, first guest, is Brian Marolf. Brian, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Well, this is a very special podcast because it's a focus on the Main Street Hooligans, which the Hooligans, in case you don't know, are the main supporters guard for AFC Ann Arbor. And AFC, I know I speak for everyone in the organization where they appreciate the MSH, and saying that their support is unwavering and constantly appreciated.
It's a great club to support.
Absolutely.
It makes it easy.
Well, first and foremost, let's talk about you a little bit. How did you become a soccer fan in general first?
Soccer fan. You know what? Honestly, I think it was sometime around college. I just started watching the game, caught a couple, whatever it was called back then, UEFA Cup, UEFA Champions League. You know, I know they've gone through several names since then because that was a long time ago, but I just started picking it up. I've had siblings that have played through the youth and college levels, and I just, past few years, I mean, there isn't a sport I don't like, I don't think, but it's been the main sport that I've followed, and looking into and finding out about the culture around the world and how much it means to people around the world, I kind of just, I guess, bought into that and enjoyed the way it was celebrated.
Absolutely. It's such a world game.
It is.
And in terms of supporting AFC Ann Arbor, did you start supporting since its inception, or how did that happen?
Actually.
Really?
You know, I heard about the team.
Okay.
I saw articles in the newspaper about the team. And the last I saw, there was an entry into the NPSL. Well, I didn't do much research past that.
Yeah.
Missed the entire first season. Didn't realize that there was a lower league. And actually, it's funny because my higher level soccer watching experience really started with my younger brother.
Okay.
He lives in Philadelphia. Well, he lived in Philadelphia up until a couple weeks ago. And big fan of the club out there. We went to a few games. I had actually just come back from a 10-day trip where we traveled all around.
Very fun.
And, you know, I've always wanted a club. Since I started watching the sport, I wanted a club. And, you know, I was trying to latch onto that, and I root for that team. But I wanted a hometown club.
You wanted a club of your own.
Exactly. And, you know, made it to, I think the first game I went to was the Memorial Day game a couple years ago. And started watching, made it to a couple games, and then after that it was just membership and it was finding people and you know the journey kind of just picked up from there, and I found a place that I wanted to be.
It was a love at first game for you.
Absolutely.
Now, take me through your membership with the Main Street Hooligans. When did that come into play?
That was honestly the first full season that I was there, so it would have been the third season for the club, the second season that I was watching. I don't know that there's so much a membership. I just kind of planted myself within them and started singing along and started making up songs and started yelling, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's just a great group of people, and you know, they were happy to have me. I was happy to be around them, and I couldn't be happier about the whole situation.
Speaking of yelling, you're known as one of the people who is very loud without the use of a megaphone. Everyone is thankful for you being the cheerleader. How did that happen? Someone was like, "Hey, Brian, you're really loud." Or
you know what? Honestly, the whole Koimo thing came about. Bilal mentioned he liked the idea of that acronym, and I'm not going to say it's an original, but you know, I adapted the words of something that I knew and decided at the first home game of the year that I was just going to yell that out. And it's an easy one to get people to go along with because it's call and repeat.
Yes.
As far as the volume, I don't know. You'd probably have to ask my mom if I swallowed a megaphone when I was a kid. It's a possibility. I don't know. I apparently can project my voice very well and realized that the first time I did it, and the sound bounced back off the other side of the stadium. But
that's a telltale sign there.
It takes its toll. You know, I'm usually pretty hoarse by the end of a game, but that's what I can do. You know, those boys and this year, those women will be out there giving their 100% for the club. So that's what I can do. That's the little bit I can do.
Absolutely. Talking in terms, you've said you've been a fan since the NPSL days. Do you have any particular favorite memories from that season till now?
A lot of them. You know, I mean, Moko dropping one in with the head in stoppage time against City, against Columbus. I know I differ from a lot of people. A lot of people don't necessarily like going to Keyworth Stadium. I like going there because it makes me feel like, it makes everything start to bubble up in my stomach, and I enjoy that feeling.
Yeah.
It's road trips, home games. I don't know necessarily that I can pick out an exact favorite.
Right.
But those moments, those moments when all of a sudden you don't know who's next to you, you're embracing after a goal, and it's just all of those.
That's really part of that versatility of soccer.
Absolutely.
Really. In terms of away games, you mentioned Keyworth. You enjoy going out to Keyworth. Have you been able to make it out to any other away games, and do you have a particular favorite?
Yeah, I made actually, I think, except the long ones last year. I didn't make Indiana, I didn't make Milwaukee, but I had Grand Rapids was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
It's they support their club well out there, and they have avid fans, and they have an avid supporters group, and the interaction's always interesting to me, to see how people interact, and again, the universality of the game, just to be able to see how people may sing a song differently than me. The Milk Cup final last year, seeing Lansing again for the first time that year after them being out of the league when it's 100 degrees out.
It was a hot one that day.
It's nice, in the parking lot. It's, hey, how you doing? Good this, and then you step inside the lines, and just like the teams, you're shouting back and forth at each other. So, it's definitely, it's almost a small study in humanity for me. It's just to see how people profess their passion for something, I guess.
Exactly. What's your favorite part about supporting?
Getting to be able to go out and yell, maybe. I
That's
don't
always
know.
a fun part of it.
I do. I think it is because I love the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to show my love for the game in whatever way I can. I can sing as loud as I want, off key as I want, whichever. And it just so happens to be with a bunch of people that I really enjoy being around. It's just everybody. We may not be the biggest supporters group in the league, right? Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't trade it. I certainly wouldn't trade it, because the passion's there, the love for the group is there. It's something I just, I thought about that the last few days, and it led from, we talked about, I wanted a team to support, and it went from, I want to support a team to, I want to support a hometown team to, I want to support this team.
Yes.
And that it just grew on me. It really did grow on me, and it's because of everything from ownership management down to chatting with players, down to the people I'm in the stands with. It's down to being here today. It's just it's a great organization to be involved with.
Absolutely. In terms of supporting as a Main Street Hooligan, can you take me through a bit of the insight? Like, where do the chants come from?
For me, I'm probably going to give away some of my secrets, but I know a lot of websites. I watch a lot of games on TV.
Yeah.
I have some favorite songs that I've heard throughout the years, throughout stadiums, throughout different leagues. I also, there's times where just a tune will pop in my head, or that I hear on TV or in a movie or something that's like, how can I make that a part of? It's just. I guess I have a decent ability to throw words together pretty quickly and make them rhyme sometimes. And, that's a lot of that. There are a lot of songs, and, there are going to be plenty of people that claim to make original songs. I could claim to say that I started singing original songs. 50 other clubs have used it.
Right.
I think I'm original. 50 other clubs have already used it. So, but it really is. It's just the process of thinking, like, what do I want to say in this? How can I make it rhyme, and how well will it carry?
Exactly. That's always key, making sure it carries, making sure everyone can hear it. You've mentioned some of your travels in terms of soccer and I'm sure other sports. Can you take me through some of those? What levels those may have been? Was that around the country? Or?
Yeah, mostly nationally. Like I said, my brother and I have done a lot. He really, as far as viewing the game, at a level higher than youth club or even, junior college, he's really been my partner in crime. And he supports when he can be here. He makes it out to town for at least a game a summer usually. Mm-hmm. And we've done quite a bit of traveling with the club in Philadelphia. I think that's where I realized that I like to go to road games and be in hostile environments.
Yeah. Philadelphia.
I've had beer cans thrown at me in Columbus. I've had 60 of the third rail, mob up and start yelling at me because I was wearing the wrong colors, rounding a corner in the Bronx. It's an interesting experience, and I guess a lot of that with like I said, with singing songs, with yelling, with cheering on a team is the adrenaline that I get out of it. And I'm tall and uncoordinated. I'm not super athletic, so this is what I can do. This is what I love sports, and this is what I can do.
Supporting is always a great option,
Absolutely.
even if, like myself, never been athletically gifted. It happens.
It happens.
For the best of us. In terms of your travels, do you have a favorite away stadium that you visited? We talked a little bit about the NPSL stadiums, but even if there's one in the greater pro sphere.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it in this town, but it wasn't too bad being at Columbus. It's out in the middle of nowhere. I appreciate the MLS stadiums I've been in for their charm, for the fact that it's not trying to cram a professional soccer game into a football stadium.
Right.
But yeah, and it pains me. I'm not going to say where my favorite away NPSL stadium is because it hurts me to say it. So, it's I don't know that I have a favorite. I the experiences I've had, I can tell you my least favorite was watching a professional soccer game in a baseball stadium. That's no fun.
No fun.
Sight lines are terrible. But that's I think I enjoyed the experiences for what they were and enjoyed the stadiums for the fact that they're built for that purpose. They serve that purpose very well. And they work for what they are. They work really well for what they are. So
match season is coming up. Can you take me through your match day routine? Do you have one? Do you have like a lucky pair of socks?
I do. I don't know that there's a science to it. I have a scarf routine usually. It depends on if this scarf is working well, then I'll stick with it till it doesn't. As far as pregame stuff, not really. I have my Monster Energy to get me hyped up, and I probably should, go through some Chester Bennington vocal warm-ups to get my throat ready. But I don't, which is usually why I'm blown out by 75 minutes. But
should carry a thing of tea around.
It wouldn't be a bad idea, and water's always a good idea during the games. But I end up forgetting about that. But I'm much less superstitious than I have been in the past. But it's still there. It's still there. It usually has to do with which scarf I'm wearing or which shirt I'm going to wear, and that's just kind of ride the wave thing.
That's always part of supporting a team. I always imagine. The NPSL season schedule has come out. Have you marked any dates on your calendar as a game that you're excited for, or?
All of them. Honestly, I'm excited to see how Toledo works out in the league. That's looking at it. Really, there's not many geographically closer clubs than Toledo. I haven't done the exact mapping as far as that, but that's a pretty close one. I've spent a lot of time in Toledo throughout the years, on and off, whether it be work or just traveling down there. There's always the big ones. There's the big rivalries that we've had for a long time. That's one thing I like about the condensed schedule, is that every game means something.
Yes.
So, and I know we've talked about it within the group that I think the city game is on the same day as the Women's World Cup final and the Gold Cup final. So that's going to be a busy day. But I'm looking forward to, you contacted me about this and I almost wanted to say no because now all of a sudden I'm thinking like it's got to be 3 months later now. I can't wait. I can't wait for the season to start. So
same thing happened with me when the schedule released. It was like it's got to be almost season time. we've talked a bit about stadiums,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the things that goes into the stadium is the experience as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specific game that sticks out? Like there was the Detroit City rainout a couple years ago.
Yeah, I made it to the first half of that. I think I'm still drying out from that, actually. That was interesting. Both the games at Eastern last year we got pretty wet.
Yes.
I really, you know what? One of the memories that's sticking out to me right now is after the title had been clinched last year, FC Indiana.
Yes.
It was a comfortable game. We got to cheer the boys on. We got to, sing our hearts out, shout our hearts out, have a celebration afterwards. And, I realize it was a lopsided game, but I really appreciate what FC Indiana does. I mean, that's a club that's building from within, and they're giving kids a chance, and I enjoy seeing that. And it was nice to talk to their coaches, and to just talk to them and be able to say, hey, thanks for coming out here and busting your tails all summer. It doesn't go unappreciated. So, but that was the end of the season. Unfortunately, I had a family commitment during the playoffs last year, which about broke my heart, but it was an extremely, I've talked to everybody, it was an extremely important weekend for my family. So,
yes.
But, the season ended off on a pretty high note for me, and the season ended off on a high note with whatever the results were,
Right.
Being able to watch the live stream from a few states away, hearing everybody out there just screaming their heads off, I was going to say I was near in tears. I was in tears, at the end of that game. And it wasn't necessarily for a bad reason. It was just proud to be a part of all of this. So.
Right. Very important in terms of that. In terms of the community, Main Street Hooligans and AFC consistently give back. Is there any sort of community project that you're proud of, or anything that the club in general does that you're thrilled with?
All of it. I love seeing youth soccer being promoted. I love the fact that Gabi and Alex came up with this whole scholarship idea for these guys. Whatever the amount, we believe in you. You're part of our family. Here you go. Let's give you a little push. It's anything like that. I feel like that's an important part of a community organization like this, and I think the club makes that a priority to embed themselves in the community and to help the community. And it's another reason why I want this to be my club.
Exactly. Last question for
Sure.
you. I'm going to force you to pick one specific moment from last season. What was your favorite moment?
Seeing Captain Jack jump up on the wall at Keyworth.
That's still the AFC Twitter header.
To see the look on his face, to see everybody in the stands, to be able to scream and shout with all of them, to see them join it. I mean, that was when you see those players buying into it, and I don't doubt their dedication for 1 minute, but when you see something like that, I mean, it really really sinks in. It really sinks in as to how much this means to everybody. So
I couldn't agree with you more. That's one of the iconic photos in AFC Ann Arbor. Brian, thank you for taking time out.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We'll be back with more Welcome to Tree Town after this. Welcome back to Welcome to Tree Town. I am your host, Ryan McCouch, and I'm here with Alex and Gabi Sievert. Guys, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So, first and foremost, I want to ask you guys, how did you both get into soccer?
I never really liked soccer growing up. It was way too much running.
Yeah. You and me both.
I got back into it really only a couple years ago. In college, we had a couple of friends who were huge soccer heads, started watching, started becoming available on TV more.
Yeah.
And so when we came here, we were brand new to Ann Arbor, and we were kind of just looking for games to go to, activities, stuff like that. Kind of got into the local scene that way. Hadn't really heard of lower leagues or anything like that before moving to Ann Arbor. But
we're definitely huge sports fans in general.
Yeah.
And so we moved to Ann Arbor almost 3 years ago now. and we were just new to the town, didn't really know anyone, and we're just like, let's just see what's around. Looking at Michigan athletics and things like that. Summer came around, and we really didn't have anything to do, and so we just Googled sports in Ann Arbor, and AFC Ann Arbor soccer team came up, and so we were interested. We were like, okay, this might be kind of cool. It's a local team. Let's do a little bit of research. Tickets were really inexpensive, and we're like, let's see where this is. It wasn't until I have a tendency to go a little bit overboard sometimes. I saw season tickets available, and I just knew that this was going to work. So I kind of just bought season tickets for AFC Ann Arbor, and and now here we are.
How did becoming embedded into the Main Street Hooligans come about? Did that happen as just a result of Alex buying season tickets, or?
We didn't start really getting involved right away. We saw them across the field, and they just looked like they were having a lot of fun. So we went over. We didn't know anyone, which is kind of awesome that you can do that in a lot of different soccer supporter groups. You just show up, and that's, get to know people that way. It's fun to just, shout and really get into it. It's really easy to get involved. So
I think that's one of the main draws in any sports. It's just you get to shout for however long the game is, and it's always a good time.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
true. He tends to go overboard. I definitely, I've caught myself yelling at what am I doing? But it's, it's one of the places where you can do that, and it's, within reason, obviously, but it's one of the places that you can do that and have a good time, and you're with a bunch of other people who are doing the same thing, so it's fun.
I definitely, the overboard, you can see him trend here. I definitely, if I don't have a hoarse voice by the end of it, I feel like I haven't done my part. So all the guys are out there getting all sweaty and tired, and I got to make sure that I get tired by the end of it. So I definitely, whether it's singing, whether it's shouting, whether it's yelling at the other team, our team, really doesn't matter. Kind of just yelling in general.
As long as you're yelling.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely by the end of it, I want to be completely hoarse. I want to feel it the next day that I need some tea or something like that.
Do you guys make road trips frequently as well, or do you try and stay based in Ann Arbor?
So last season was the first time that we had gone to an away game, right? We'd maybe gone to playoffs the year prior, but we decided to just do it.
Another reason of me going overboard. We went at the beginning of the season. I made an agreement with Gabi that we were going to go to every game this year. That was my goal. First game of the season comes around, and it's at Milwaukee, and we're like, oh man, this is going to be tough. This one's going to be tough. And so it was a game time decision that day whether or not we were going to actually go or not. And it was a rough weekend. We weren't really feeling up to it, and so we didn't have any hotel accommodations or anything. We were going to try to go there and come back the same day. It was poorly planned. So we didn't end up going to the Milwaukee game. We watched that one, streaming it on Facebook Live, I think.
Shout out to their commentator, because the stream was not great.
Yeah, the commentary was very good on that game. But after that, we decided, okay, now that was the furthest one. We can make it to every other game. So last season, we made it out to Indiana. We made it to Columbus. Went to Detroit. Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
Basically everything else.
The only ones we didn't go to was when we were out of town. And we watched the Milk Cup final on a cell phone.
On July 4th weekend.
On July weekend.
Yeah, we were in California. And so we're sitting on the beach at a July 4th barbecue, and everyone else is swimming in the ocean and playing on the beach, whatever. Meanwhile, me and Gabi are underneath a tent with our phone up, watching AFC play in the Milk Cup final. So. So those two games were the only ones we didn't.
It was probably just as hot in up here as in
Oh
California.
yeah, we
It
definitely
was brutal that day.
There was a luxury of us being able to go in the water just a couple feet away that I'm sure everyone in Lansing was wishing and dreaming they could have had the ocean right there.
Oh, 100%. Talk to me a little bit, because when I reached out to you guys earlier about the Midwest Pro Soccer Combine scholarships for the AFC players, I was directed to you guys, and you guys spoke to me a little bit about it. But tell me how that came about. Like, what did that stem from?
We were watching some USL playoffs, and Stanley Okumu was on the screen, and we were just so happy for him. He's such a great guy. Anyone who's met him, quiet at first, but just so nice. And we were just so happy that, in your soccer journey, AFC could play this like tiny part. And we were like, this doesn't have to be, just a couple players. It can be anyone can get a chance. And we knew that the combine was growing, number one. Number two, there's like 900 different professional leagues now. So there's going to be more jobs for soccer players, which is cool. So we figured, why not try to get some more representation at the combine? And it's, we were serving college students not that long ago. We get it. It's not easy to, put up the money to do anything, to get seen, to go to these camps, to go to these combines. So we figured, if we can, let's try to help out a little bit. And I would, with just the Hooligans and I think like maybe one or two others, we got a couple people to go to the combine. Yeah,
we started with just thinking that we would only be able to really afford to put up one person or something like that, threw it out to the rest of the Hooligans. A lot of other people were really interested in it, and so we put it all together as all the Main Street Hooligans were able to put up a couple people, which I know for a fact that definitely means a lot to the guys there, and we're really happy that we decided to do that. So,
yes.
Talk to me a little bit about, in terms of supporting. Do you have a favorite part about being a supporter for AFC Ann Arbor?
I think...
Is it the act of screaming for 90 minutes every game?
I mean, that's really fun. For anyone who hasn't, gone all out for the 90 minutes to just, chant along and do that, definitely try it. It's really fun. But I know for me, it's kind of silly, but I kind of scroll through Instagram or Facebook and see, just some of the players who have come and gone and just what they're doing now. We tried to make an effort to watch some college games. There were a good group of guys at Saginaw, a good group of guys at Stony Brook, which tried to catch a game, just to see how far-reaching the network of AFC is just so cool. And you don't have to scream 90 minutes every week to get that, but I don't know about you.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy the screaming and the hollering and everything that comes along with actually being at the game. But I think I'm in agreement. All the outside stuff it's everything that's additional that goes on outside that you're more excited about. Things like having get-togethers at Revel and Roll after the season, getting to hang out with the players and sort of get to know them on a little bit of a deeper level at that point. You actually know them as a person as opposed to just that really good defender or something like that. And you also realize that he's actually pretty good at Pop-A-Shot. So things like that are you really see that they're more than just a soccer player on a team. So the signings after the games where they're hanging out with the kids and getting an interaction with families at that point. It's all that extra stuff that I think we really enjoy from our side, yeah.
In terms of the match day experience itself, I asked Brian this, but do you guys have any special superstitions or anything you do on match day?
So I wear the same Yankee hat every day or every game. It's quite sweaty and beat up now. That's definitely one thing that I do. We have the same scarves over and over and over. We started a sort of game tradition last year of popping a smoke bomb after every goal. Again, another thing that we just kind of preparing for that. That's an interesting game thing that we do that not everyone necessarily does. Let's see, is there anything else? I wore the same jersey.
We have a lot of AFC gear.
Way too much AFC gear.
I don't have like a lucky shirt or anything. I kind of rotate just so I can get all my gear.
get it all in rotation. Yeah. I do that all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we got a lot of AFC gear.
So, yeah, no routine. It will be nice to have a routine, though. We're going to go to the same venue every week, every game, so that'll be cool. We did get a little bit of hanging out before the game with the rest of the group, just to get on the same page, like to walk in together, so that sort of stuff. But I don't have any like lucky socks or anything.
No lucky charms or anything.
No lucky charms.
No.
In terms of the match day experience itself, is there any game, not even just last season, but in your history of supporting, that stands out to you as a special game for any particular reason?
I was just thinking about this, and it kind of flies under the radar, but the away Milk Cup match at Kalamazoo, I don't remember if it was like a weekday or something, but it just like the stars kind of aligned, and we got like a bunch of people to go, and like carpooled works out, and like a bunch of stuff, and we fielded a team that it was like a really busy time. I mean, it's a condensed schedule, it's all pretty busy, but I remember we fielded a team that was like not a lot of the normal starters, and it went down to like almost the end. It was tied. I don't know if it was 0-0 or 1-1. It was tied, and like a guy who had never scored before scored the game winner.
It was Katona, right?
Katona, yeah. And it was fun to have everyone there, traveling to just remind the guys that, you know, we're rooting for you, whether or not you're at home or away. And it was just a fun day. Weather was good. It wasn't like crazy hot or anything. Oh, yeah. So that one kind of sticks out just because it was just like we got to be there for the players at an away game, and it worked out. It was a winner. So yeah. Yeah.
I'm just gonna also list one. I can't take that one.
You can if you want.
Yes, it's a tough one. The home games against Detroit are always fun ones to be at, just because you're trying to shout louder than they're shouting.
Yeah.
We're smaller than they are, so we have to scream several times louder to try to
really
compete.
give it a go.
But I don't think that their shouting was louder than our cheering after Moko scored a header. So they were very quiet after that. After that goal went in, so that was definitely an experience. Everyone was really, really excited about that, and so you could just feel the energy in the stadium just from that one goal. It was definitely a really big moment, I think, for the club and for the team last year, sort of to kick off the season on a good note and really just start to push through at the rest of the season. It was definitely a good home opener to get the season started on a right start.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we had a couple games in hand like really early in the season, so the table kind of looked ridiculous, but it was like got us off to a really good start. So that was cool.
That was my mom's first game also, because it was the Mother's Day game.
Oh,
so I was like, I'll get you tickets for the game, and that was her first ever experience. So she's hooked now.
That's awesome. That's
Shout out
really
to my
cool.
mom. But in reality, if you're looking at the schedule right now for the 2019 NPSL schedule is out, did you have like a game circled in particular that you're like, that's a game that looks fun?
The Memorial Day games, right? Those are on Mondays. I look forward to those just because it's, you know, a day when you don't have to go to work. But they're during the day, like midday, they're like kind of hot, but still, like usually we've gotten good weather, and I'm excited for that one. I I don't know if the travel works out as well for the away games, but we'll definitely be going to a couple of those. So going to a place we've never been, like stadium we've never been to. Toledo, probably go to that one as well.
Yeah, I think we're excited for the first home game. Because Concordia is the new home, and it will be the home for the foreseeable future. We're definitely, I think us as well as the rest of the Hooligans are very excited to sort of make our own stamp there. And so I'm definitely looking forward to that one, to start the season on a good note, and to sort of make Concordia AFC's new home there.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think the entire organization definitely feels that way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Last question for you guys. In terms, we talked a little bit earlier about how you guys may not have started as big soccer fans as you are now. Has that blossomed into a bigger love for the game? I think you're a Manchester City fan now, and then you've kind of backpacked along with Bilal onto West Ham.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely feel that AFC sort of sparked our interest much more in soccer, and so Gabi definitely started last season watching a lot more Manchester City games, and of course when I saw her hop on that bandwagon, I couldn't have done that, and so talking with Bilal and hanging out with him more, he sort of got me hooked on West Ham, and so we've definitely been watching a lot more games this year, Premier League wise, but we're also follow MLS teams, and so that's somewhat better for some people than others, but
whenever I tell my coworkers or whoever that we're going out of town for the weekend, the first thing they ask is like, "Oh, is there a soccer game?" Because we've been to games in not just for Ann Arbor, but we've been to games in Dallas, and we've been to games in Toronto, we've been to games in Columbus, we've been to games we like to travel a lot, so we definitely follow Premier League just because it's so easy to watch, which is great. And the national teams, but we'll watch them. So I mean, we're hooked. We watch USL, we watch MLS, we watch it all. Try to support local too. We went to a bunch of the U of M games to cheer on Mark. So we definitely watch a lot of soccer now.
The avid consumers of soccer.
Yes.
Right. Well, Gabi and Alex, thank you both very much for taking time out to come visit and talk with us.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching our second week of this podcast. Welcome to Treetown. Make sure to follow us at Twitter at AFC Ann Arbor for all things AFC, and stay tuned to afcannarbor.com for more episodes. We will see you next week. Take care.